Welcome back, Advanced Math. More box and whisker plots today. We learned how to make them last time, and so today we're going to learn some important vocabulary about them and how to read and interpret them. So, find your next free page. There is your title. When you're all set, mark your page with your pencil and unpause and follow with me. All right. So let's fast review how to make a box and whisker plot. This is how long it took me to get to school in the morning for 2 weeks in minutes, if you're wondering. These are drive days. These are bike days. And this was a bike a little of the way, plus get a flat tire, plus walk the rest of the way. Yes. Takes a long time. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a number line that's got a place for all of my values. I'll go in 5s, maybe. Yeah. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. This is going to be a squished one, by the way, just to warn you. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. And so all my values are close, so I'm going to have a really small box and whisker chart here, I think. So the first thing I do is find my median, if you remember. So I've got, this was 10 days, so my median is going to be in between those two. So I've got 5 over there and 5 over there. 24 and a half minutes, about right there. I'm going to put a line segment there. Then I'm going to find the median of all of these that are below the median. So it looks like that median is 8. Oh, it's not going to be squished. That's pretty far from there. 8 is my median of my lower half. And then over here, we're going to find the median of my upper half. That is 25. Yeah, there's my squished. It's going to be a very squished box. Okay. And then I use those 3 values to make the box in my box and whisker plot. There's the box. And then I'm going to put a point at the lowest value and the highest value, except, I don't think we talked about this yesterday. Sometimes if there's an outlier, and you can tell that that's an outlier, sometimes if there's an outlier, you actually don't put a whisker all the way out to the outlier. You put the outlier, they'll usually maybe put like a star or a dot or something like that for the outlier, and they'll just draw the whisker out to the highest normal value or the lowest normal value. So I might put a whisker out to 30 and a whisker out to 5 and not a whisker all the way out to 75. Sometimes they do. They'll put the whisker out there. And sometimes they'll put the outlier out by itself. That is how you make a box and whisker plot. So let's talk about reading them and kind of what they mean and how you can interpret it. So here's some box and whisker plots. This is how old the actor and actress who won the Best Actor and Best Actress award were each year from 1975 to 2004. So we got about 30 years of winners, and here they are. So the females are on the top, males are on the bottom. It's 2 separate box and whisker plots. So let me give you some vocabulary first. So you already know the median. That middle of the box is the median. And this is the median of the upper half. And we call that the upper quartile. Quartile almost has the word quarter in it, which means fourth. So that means this is 3/4 of the people are up to here. Half of the half is a fourth. So 1/4 of the actors are between the median and the upper quartile. And same thing over here, this is called the lower quartile. Because again, 1/4 of the data points are there. And then the very bottom value we call the lower extreme. And the very highest value other than the outlier we call the upper extreme. So that's some vocab. Lower extreme, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, upper extreme. Those are the things we added on there yesterday. That's just kind of what they're called. All right. So now let's talk about what this means. So the first thing is, while it looks like kind of a random visual to draw, it's actually really logical and really organized, because since I know this is half, and this is half of the half, and this is half of the half, what I really end up with is a cool visual way to show me that 25% of the data is here. So 25% of the winners were between 28 and about 35. And then another 25% are here. So another 25% was between 38 and about 42. Then another 25% is in this part of the box, between 42 and 51 maybe. And then another 25% of the data is here. So 25% of the winners were between 51 and 61. So it's a cool way. It shows you like fourth. And even though it looks weird, it's really a kind of a logical way to display it if you kind of want to see how well the data is spread out. And then of course we have an outlier here. One person won the award when they were almost 80. Looks like about 77, 78 years old. And so that's the main thing, is you're looking at quarters of the data. A fourth are here, a fourth are here, a fourth are in this box, and a fourth are out here. There's one other fancy word we use in box and whisker plots. Since you know that, so this is called those 25% are called quartiles. So that's that's called the first quartile, first quarter of the data, second quartile, third quartile, and fourth quartile. So that's some more vocab, a lot of vocab on this. And one last vocabulary word. So you guys can already know that if there were no outliers, if I looked from here to here, that's going to show you the range of the data from the lowest to the highest. Actually, in this case, it's out to the outlier. And so there's also another term we use. If you look at the range of the middle of just the box, from the lower quartile to the upper quartile, that is called the inter, that means between, quartile range. Interquartile range, that means the range from the lower quartile to the upper quartile, and all that tells you that's like the middle half. That range says, well, the middle half, because a lot of statistics is about the middle. That's like saying the middle half of the winners were between 38 and 51. So a 13-year range. The inner quartile, so that interquartile range, that just tells you the middle half of the people. Whew, lots of vocab. Okay, so I'm going to go to the We Do. Open your notebook. Go ahead and pause and draw your box and whisker plot. Draw it nice and big, because you're going to have to put about 10 vocabulary words on here, and I want to make sure they all fit. So leave your pause, draw it nice and neat and big, and leave yourself plenty of space. Okay. So here is a box and whisker plot of some random 6th grade math test grades. The first round of vocabulary is the parts. Right? This is called the lower. Actually, let's go up if you have room. I want to try to leave you with enough space to write everything. This is called the lower extreme. And this is the upper extreme. This is, of course, the median. Same old median as ever. And then quartiles. This is the lower quartile. Notice the word quarter, like fourth in there. And this is the upper quartile. Alright, so those are the parts of the box and whisker plot. Alright, and then let's talk about how to interpret it, right? What's cool about this is the way they're set up, you can see that 25% of the data is here, 25% of the data is here, 25% of the data is here, and 25% of the data is here. So like as a teacher, I'm thinking to myself, a fourth of the class got between 68 and 78. A fourth of the class got between 78 and 85. A fourth of the class got between 85 and 93. And another fourth of the class got between 93 and 98, let's say. So that's a good way for me as a teacher to kind of see how spread out my scores were. So that is pretty cool. That's a nice feature of them, is you always know where 1/4 of your data values are. Alright, and let's see, were there other, oh yeah. That's called the first quartile. That's called the second quartile. That's called the third quartile. And that's the fourth. Quartile meaning quarter. First quarter of the data, second quarter of the data, third quarter, fourth quarter. 1/4 of the kids here, 1/4 here, 1/4 here, 1/4 here. Alright. And you can pause if you need to. I'm going to erase those to show you that last vocabulary word. Notice, remember, this is the range, the good old range that we already know how to do. And then we use that other range on the inner two values. So we say from here to here, from 78 to 93, that is called the interquartile range. That tells me the middle 50% of scores. So as a teacher, I'm saying, all right, the middle half of my class got between a 78 and a 93. The top quarter got higher, the bottom quarter got lower, but that's the gist of it. All right, so that is how you interpret and look at a box and whisker plot. Lots of information in them for such kind of a initially strange-looking data display. All right, once you feel like you got that, you have all that vocabulary written down, you're all set, and we'll try it tomorrow. See you then.